Come, all ye gallants far and near, attend our tale, and you will hear voices rising up from ages gone. Hear the story that we bring, raise your voices high and sing of Robin Hood and his maid Marian. Welcome in our noble guests, and join us here in sporting jests to see the odds true love can overcome. Outlaws from a roving band joined in marriage hand in hand, brave Robin Hood and his maid Marian. Here you'll see our flashing blades, heroic kings fresh from crusades, archery and swordplay that will stun. Shocking acts of daring do, told within our tale brand new, of Robin Hood and his maid Marian. You've heard the tales how Robin robbed the rich so dear the sheriff sobbed, made Prince John regret the ills he'd done. But here's a tale you haven't heard, so gather round and mark our words of Robin Hood and his maid Marian. You've heard Robin's courageous feats, of how he chastised knaves and cheats, of clever tricks he played and duels won. He robbed the rich, he fed the poor. Here's a tale to tell you more of Robin Hood and his maid Marian. So now our song is nearly through, let's join our hero's roguish crew in Sherwood Forest neath the waning sun. Come all ye in as we regale your ears with our own brand new tale of Robin Hood and his maid Marian. Of Robin Hood and his maid Marian. Of Robin Hood and his maid Marian.
A room in the castle of Nottingham.
This way, good my lord. Please excuse our unreadiness. We didn't expect you for at least 2 days yet.
My business required haste.
You see, Sheriff, how love makes even the powerful impetuous.
Why, yes, your highness. I had forgotten the Earl was an impetuous young man in love.
The Earl gives a very unimpetuous look to the sheriff.
But unfortunately, Lady Marian has not arrived herself yet.
My dear Sheriff, the princess comes fresh from the French court, where men have leisure hours to lavish on love, so she paints my haste with a burgundy hue. But here in England we have an absent king, and Prince John and his friends, of whom I count myself as one of the closest.
As does the world, my lord.
You had best not interrupt. The Earl does not often speak at any length, but when he does, he takes such pleasure in it that he becomes quite peevish about interruptions.
Thank you, madam. As I say, Prince John and his friends must work continually to maintain peace amongst the bickering nobility. The prince's business, not my own, is the cause of my haste.
Nonetheless, dear Sheriff, let us settle the curiosity of the blushing bridegroom. One hears that the Lady Marian is no small beauty.
Indeed, your highness. She has never come so far north as Nottingham, but she came to a tournament in Lincoln last year with the old Earl Fitztooth, her father, and everyone there was amazed at her beauty.
Then the Earl may hope that the chains of love may be pleasant ones.
Prince John's cause has need of lands and revenues. What more binding tie than our marriage? But as to love, I had thought to aspire somewhat higher than the rustic northern earl's daughter.
Perhaps you may aspire still. But we embarrass the sheriff. He is perhaps uncomfortable at so close a look at the lives of those so high in the land.
If he lends proper assistance in the coming events, he may become accustomed to such glimpses.
I beg your pardon, my lord.
Enough of this. The princess and I have not come so far from court merely to greet my bride-to-be. Prince John has great need of assistance, and the prince is very lavish toward those that prove his friends.
Well, my services are entirely at his command.
Then you will aid me in my search for his brother Richard.
The king?
I believe the prince has but one brother of that name.
But, my lord, as much as I long to serve Prince John and the king, it would be almost impossible to leave Nottingham. The administration of the king's justice, to travel across the seas.
You need only search right here in Nottingham.
But the king is captive in Austria, waiting ransom.
Was.
Your Highness?
Richard has been ransomed and is here in England.
But the news has not yet reached us.
It has not reached anyone but the prince.
I don't understand.
Richard is in England alone.
You see, Sheriff, it seems Richard and his escort were attacked by a band of knights before he even reached the Channel. Who sent them remains a mystery, does it not, my dear Earl?
Indeed it does.
You see, Sheriff, Richard has as many devoted enemies as he has loyal friends, but these knights' intentions were clear enough. They devastated his escort. Richard, however, seems to have been delighted by the opportunity for some exercise after his long captivity, and the last they saw of him, he was cleaving off heads and arms and various other appendages as he galloped through their ranks and out of sight.
And you think he is now in England?
We know he is, and is likely to move right through Nottinghamshire to join his royal supporters in the south. I am here to find him. My previously announced betrothal serves as good excuse for my coming here. After all, we wouldn't want to alert Richard's enemies to his predicament, would we?
Yes, imagine Prince John's concern. If Richard should meet with misfortune, all the worries and responsibilities of the crown would fall on John's own head.
So the prince will not rest easily until Richard is safely in my custody. I believe you understand me, Sheriff.
Oh, I mean, yes, that is, I do. The prince may count on my loyalty and assistance.
Excellent. Your cooperation bodes well for your future. Let us decide how best to use your men and mine.
Of course. I think the very first thing we'll want to do... Great Lord!
What's wrong?
Is it possible anyone else knows of your purpose?
Why?
If Robin Hood hears of this, he could ruin all your plans.
Yes, from what one hears, this outlaw has more to say about what happens in your shire than you do yourself.
Milady, the knave is crafty as he is devilish.
I'm sure we'll have no trouble with him.
But if he should find the king first, he may decide to help him.
Sheriff, I assure you, Robin Hood will cause no trouble. Speak no more of him. I have a little plan which should be taking effect right now. No, we shall have no trouble with that quarter.
And if the sheriff will show us to our accommodations, we can refresh ourselves before making any further plans.
Oh, I didn't think you... Of course. If you follow me, I will call my steward. Steward!
Well, do you think he'll be useful?
Not greatly, but at least he won't be in our way now. You astound him. Continue to do so. He's already heady with thoughts of advancement.
Never fear. My charm and his greed will bind him fast.
3-on-1.
This way!
Sounds of a fight echo in the greenwood. Will Scarlet rushes into a clearing, along with Randall, who has a cut-off noose about his neck. They engage 6 of the sheriff's men who are pursuing them. Enter Geoffrey, who takes their side, and the 3 men rout the sheriff's men.
Ooh, you see those gutless jackasses run? I never thought to see the sheriff's men take to heel like that.
Oh, with that noose around your neck, I should think that you thought never to see anything more at all.
Randall removes the noose.
Mary, that's true enough. 6 of the sheriff's men, and nothing to be seen of them but buttocks and elbows as they ran out of sight.
Truly, it was a fine sight. But we forget ourselves. Sir, I dare say our adventure would have ended less happily if not for your unlooked-for assistance.
Aye, that's the truth.
Randall claps Will on the shoulder.
Oh, your first shot was one to behold. Cut the hangman's rope like a woodsman's axe. Even the sheriff's men backed down when facing a good English longbow. Oh, when your second shot cut me free, and then you drew back your longbow to cover our escape. And the look on your own face when it snapped in your hands.
'Tis a lucky thing I had both my sword and quarterstaff with me today. Together, we stood them at bay right well.
Aye, that's the word for today. Give me a good English quarterstaff, and I'll take on the best blade in the kingdom.
But, sir, give me leave once again to thank you. But for your intervention, we would still be there, fighting for our lives.
Oh, from the way that you fought, I doubt not you would have stood them at bay for the rest of the day.
Oh, I would like to think so, but I'll admit I was greatly relieved to see some aid come in on our side.
6-on-2 are cowards' odds.
I think your blade would turn much worse odds than that. Never have I seen one handled better.
I have some experience in battle.
Well, what with your skills and your sense of fair play, you be a man for my master.
And who might your master be?
Robin Hood, I'll warrant, for only one of his men would think to save a man who's killed the king's own deer.
Ah, is that why you're to be hanged?
Aye. For any poor churl of a Saxon to feed a starving family with a king's deer means the loss of his ears if the sheriff's in a fair mood, or his life if it turns foul that day. You're lucky, my friend, I stayed longer over my ale than my friends, or I would never have heard of your trouble. What is your Christian name? For that's all we need to know here in the forest.
Randall.
And I am William. And as all of our band are new christened under the greenwood, you may know me as Will Scarlet. And you, my friend?
Under the greenwood, you may know me as Geoffrey.
Well spoken. Well, my friend, between your taste for venison and your taste for adventure and fair play, you may both count the sheriff your newfound enemy. If you have no better recourse, I suggest you come with me to meet Robin Hood, and mayhap Sherwood and Barnstable will welcome 2 new merry men this very night.
Aye, that I will.
I desire nothing better.
Get away!
From another part of the forest come the sounds of a different sort of altercation.
Don't touch me, any of you!
Marion and Kate appear, followed by Alan a Dale and David of Doncaster. Kate brandishes a small branch. Robin follows behind.
I warn you, keep away from milady. She's the king's ward. King John himself will make you answer with your lives if you so much as touch her.
Prince Johnny will have no more luck finding Robin than did good King Harry before him.
Kate aims a blow at Alan, who nimbly dodges, while Marion draws a small knife for protection.
Hold your tongue, Alan. Ladies, may we talk a moment, rather than chase you across all of Sherwood?
I think, sir, that the fault of the chase lies with the chasers. You attacked us.
I assure you, any attack was purely accidental.
Strange, skittish arrows you have that launch themselves at men before you think to stop them.
Did they hit anyone, Magpie?
Your bad marksmanship is your affair, and our good luck, Jackjaw.
Kate takes a swipe at Robin.
My God, take that stick away from her, David, before she hurts me.
All right, hand it over.
Hey!
Ow!
Hey!
Give me that stick!
If you harm my woman, you shall answer to me.
Well, watch it, Robin. She has a knife.
Branches now blades, ye gods, I swear. If ever I am slain, 'twill be by a woman's hand. Release the wild woman, David, before you have no shins at all, and before I've caught a penknife in my ribs.
How dare you abuse my attendant? Catherine, I refuse to speak another word to these scoundrels, and you shall not either.
Oh my God. Robin, you must learn to handle women better.
Ladies, excuse my rough language and manners. I assure you no harm was meant. Damnation! If you will allow us to repair your women's saddle strap, I pledge you to have you safely on your way within 1/2 hour.
What do you think, David?
Can't tell a thing.
Perhaps they can nod their heads without speaking, Robin.
They can speak or nod, come or go as they please. Milady, if you will sheathe your weapon and follow us, we will give you all polite assistance. If you will not, you will spend the night in Sherwood. Since there be others in the greenwood who truly are scoundrels, not to mention creatures that go bump in the night, I suggest you cast your lot with us.
Robin walks away. After a surprised glance at the women, Alan and David follow. After a brief pause, Marion and Kate grit their teeth and follow. Friar Tuck sits on a fallen log in the greenwood, holding a wineskin in his hand and conversing with himself.
Prithee, sweet month, drink me one more draught of this fine Malmsey wine. Nay, dear friend, such practice sits not well with my priestly vows. I've drunk too much already. If not for your own sake, I pray thee drink for mine, for I swear I will not sit and drink alone. I would hate to see any good man's spirit slack from any failing of mine. Therefore, for thy sake, I'll pledge thee.
Tuck passes his wineskin from one hand to the other and takes a mighty drink.
And now, dear cousin, I must insist you pledge me back, for you are the bravest sweet lad in all merry England, and I'll break the back of him that says otherwise. Well, for thy sake I must.
Tuck changes hands again and drinks.
And back again, my friend.
Once more he switches the drink, he drains the skin, contemplates it sadly, then takes a close look at his imaginary other half.
Now that I take a good close look at you, I warrant in all my life I've never seen a more handsome man than you. Nor have I neither, unless it be you. But such brave drinking deserves a song. Pray, sing us one of your favourites. Nay, I'm not in good voice today, and dare not sing alone. Do you sing instead? I'll not sing without thee. Well then, give us a song and I'll join in. Do you know the Ballad of the Scornful Lass? Not well, but if you'll start, I trust it shall come back to me. Do you sing the high part, and I'll sing the low.
As I sat alone by the campfire, thinking on days long gone past, I spied her and felt the desire for a kiss on the lips of the fine scornful lass. Oh, she's handsome, she's winsome, she's comely, she's cultured, she's rotten with class. But you take a great chance when ye offer to dance with the pride of old London, the fine scornful lass. Says I, would you care for a dance, maid? Says she, while I'm tempted I'll pass. So I swept her and spun her and dipped her, and I waltzed round the room with my fine scornful lass. Oh, she's handsome, she's winsome, she's comely, she's cultured, she's rotten with class. But you take a great chance when you offer to dance with the pride of old London, the fine scornful lass.
Well, I'm sounding pretty good.
Says I, would you give us a kiss, love? Says she, with a fellow so crass. I'd rather be kissed by a sodding blowfish, was the scathing rebuke of my fine scornful lass. Oh, she's handsome, she's winsome, she's comely, she's cultured, she's rotten with class. But you take a great chance when you offer to dance with the pride of old London, the fine scornful lass.
He doesn't know we're here.
Then when I awoke in the morning with a headache and empty wine glass, 'twas a note to me pinned, said, let's do this again, and thanks for your gold, signed the fine scornful lass.
Clueless.
Oh, she's handsome, she's winsome, she's comely, she's cultured, she's rotten with class. But you take a great chance when you offer to dance with the pride of old London, the fine scornful lass. With the pride of old London, the fine scornful lass.
What's wrong with you all in there?
Time to put on your best priestly behavior, Master Tuck. We have a lady of quality as our guest.
And her most beautiful lady in waiting.
Don't you come near me. And I warn you all not to touch my lady. The Earl of Arundel himself awaits her arrival in Nottingham, and he'll have your heads if you harm a hair on hers.
Hush.
Or mine.
Hush, Catherine.
And why would a lady of quality associate with such ragged outlaws as yourselves? Unless, Robin, you've sunk even lower into your lawless roguery and now rob defenseless women.
Nay, Tark, this was merely a misguided offer to help.
And the ladies could hardly have been called defenseless.
God forbid you three have turned away from Mother Church again in spite of all my holy teachings.
Come, Father, let us confess our adventure to you, so you may intercede for us.
Oh, yes, Father, let us, or I'll burst.
Proceed, my sons.
Robin and David and I were walking on the road from the Blue Boar in search of adventure when we heard some horsemen approaching.
Robin sent me behind a tree on one side of the road and Alan up into a big red oak on the other.
But what of Will Scarlet? I thought he was with you.
He was. We left him with his ale at the Blue Boar, making eyes at the innkeeper's daughter over his mug.
And don't interrupt our confession. We hid in the trees, and Robin laid aside his bow and sword and sat beside the road, wrapped in his cloaks, looking like a simple dullard of a woodsman.
Not too hard for him, I warrant.
Just then, the party comes round the bend.
At least 20 serving men, all armed, all mounted.
The steward is at the front,
arguing with one of his men about the way to Nottingham.
The man insists they've taken the wrong road.
The steward swears he's right.
The man wails that they mustn't go any further into the woods, that they might be full of outlaws.
By St. Dunstan, they were headed the wrong way indeed. The road to the Blue Boar heads directly away from Nottingham.
Which is exactly what I told them.
Well, the haughty steward,
a great tall man with a wart on his nose,
liked not advice from a humble woodsman.
Especially when it contradicted him.
So, arrogant and abusive, he looks down at Robin and says, I need no help from an ignorant forester who, for all I know, might be a common outlaw.
Oh, that could not have sat well.
Hardly. Robin's eyes flashed, and he says,
Oh, you would do better to hold your tongue. One day you might have the misfortune to address such words to Robin Hood himself, not knowing that his band of 70 archers were concealed in the trees, each with a cloth-yard shaft aimed at your head.
Then David, I must write him a ballad for his inspiration, lets fly an arrow from behind his tree that cleanly plucks the cap right off the steward's head.
Most brave shot.
Two of the knaves turned tail right there and ran. A shot from Alan in his tree cut right through one of the steward's reins.
Another shaft from David lands at his horse's feet, and the jumpy animal panicked.
The creature took his head and bolted back down the road, with the fool of a steward pulling frantically on his one rein, while his curses made the poor beast run even faster.
And what of the rest of them?
Seeing the steward routed, they didn't even leave us time to notch another shaft before they turned and ran, as they thought, for their very lives.
They neglected, cowards that they are, to notice that they had left their mistress and her beautiful companion behind, completely unprotected.
The last we saw of them was the steward looking back, cursing the men for cowards, and ordering them back to their lady.
And screeching at his horse in such a fashion that he'll be lucky to get the nag to stop before it reaches Nottingham Gate.
You are all a bunch of ill-mannered varlets to gloat over milady's misfortune this way.
Be quiet, Catherine. There is no point in condescending to argue with these ruffians.
I crave your pardon, my lady, and yours too, good Kate. But we ruffians meant to do no more than offer our assistance. If your thick-skulled steward had been willing to take good direction, freely given, you would have been safely in Nottingham by now. As it is, we shall make amends as best we can. Well, Reverend Father, you have heard their confession. What penance do you assign these two troublemakers?
It seems my pious example has not overcome the rash, impetuous nature of youth. Still, we must make allowances, as you point out, Robin, that the original motivations were good. And part of the blame must go to the steward for his sin of arrogance. First, they must remedy the harm they've done by escorting this gentlewoman and her maid safely to Nottingham, but for your own safety, no further than the gates, do you hear? Second, they must abstain from making love to more than one pretty girl a day for the next month.
What? Month?
And finally, Alan a Dale must sing us a sad love song each eventide this week.
Well said, Friar. And now, dear lady, if you will grant us a moment to ready the horses, we shall help you on your way. Though some count us gallant, it is clear that the company of outlaws is not to your taste.
Forgive me. I have seen too little of the world. I should have anticipated rude behavior from lawless men and been more patient.
Dear Lady Catherine, for my part, I humbly crave pardon for any inconvenience I have caused you.
David sneaks a kiss on Kate's hand, which she snatches away and uses it to deliver a resounding slap across David's cheek.
Oh. At least she's not indifferent, lad.
Yes, I'm afraid she's no more fond of us than her mistress is. And there's your one pretty girl for today, David. If the whole month goes as badly, your penance will seem a long one. Tuck, would you be so kind as to look after the ladies while we ready the horses? You might want them to join you in a cup of your fine wine.
Oh, saints forbid, Robin, no wine for me. Remember my vows. You know I dwell by the clear, clean well of St. Dunstan, where the good saint baptized 500 heathen Picts and Britons in a single day, and a little dried grain in that water is all a holy man needs to stay alive. But I'll see if I can't find something for the ladies' sake.
Oh, yes, for the ladies, of course.
Well, Sheriff, this letter brings good news. You need no longer worry about Robin Hood interfering with our plans.
My lord?
Read this.
Your spy is planted. Reynolds Longshank lost 2 fingers in the affair. But Longshank is one of my men.
And I shall see he is liberally compensated for his fingers.
But what does this mean? I have sent my men on no mission.
No, I have.
You, my lord?
Yes. I needed their assistance, and Nottingham's coat of arms for a little scheme of mine.
Well, my noble Earl, you seem in fine spirits on the sudden. I trust Prince John's business goes well?
Exceedingly.
If your grace would be so kind as to tell me what my men have accomplished.
They have assisted me in planting a spy in Robin Hood's camp.
A spy in Robin Hood's camp?
Sheriff, you must stop repeating what the Earl says. It irritates him terribly.
I'm sorry, my lady. But if I may ask, how have my men done that?
By preparing to hang a churl for killing of the king's deer. That's something those outlaws could not ignore. They are bound to attempt a rescue.
Begging your pardon, my lord, this may not work out so well as you hope. I myself had tried to plant spies in the outlaws' camp, but twice they were sent back with insulting ballads pinned to their coats, and 3 of them joined the band in earnest. Oh, if your man tells Robin of the king's presence, we are lost. Or is he my man?
Peace, you dotard. He's my man. My plans are hardly as clumsy as yours. Oh, they'll accept the spy all right. The rescue was staged to excite their roguish imaginations. A churl to be executed for killing of the king's deer. That was bound to spark their interest. And the outlaw's bow breaking amidst the rescue, oh, that was a lucky stroke. It gave Sir Guy an opportunity to show off his prowess as a fighter, and those rogues love a fighter. Longshank's 2 fingers lend even more credit to the affair. No, Sir Guy would have no trouble. They'll never suspect him.
They'll never suspect him.
Sheriff, you're repeating again, Sheriff. Well, my dear Earl, all goes nicely. First your own men, then the sheriffs are on the lookout for good King Richard. Now, with the help of Sir Guy, Robin Hood himself may lend us assistance in our search. If he should run across the king, we'll soon hear of it.
And soon thereafter, Prince John will be greatly relieved to hear his brother Richard is in my protective custody.
But if I remember correctly, Sheriff, the Lady Marian is due here this evening. Let us prepare a welcome for her as befits the rank of her noble and lovesick bridegroom.
Yes, it is best our presence this far from London be properly excused. You may demonstrate your love for Prince John with a celebration, Sheriff. Bring forth your finest wines and best dishes. Spare no expense. If I'm to marry below my ambitions, we must at least accompany my betrothal with proper pomp and circumstance.
I'm afraid our welcome is sparse. Little John and the rest of the men have gone to Barnstable to prepare our winter camp. We have little to entertain you with. I pray you, my lady, don't think too harshly of Robin and his men. They meant no harm.
Then why do they stop perfectly innocent travelers on the road and threaten them with bow and arrow?
Breathing the air of the greenwood makes men grow bold. One must make allowances. Besides, our Robin is a terrible cynic. He won't believe that all the travellers through the wood are innocent, and he insists on stopping them all so he can find out.
He stops travelers to rob them of their goods, and nothing else.
Heaven save us, sweet maid, I feel you're right. You see, if Robin finds a man has more wealth than he deems is good for him, like as not he'll ease the sinner of part of his burden, sort of a tithe for charity.
And charity begins with him.
Just so, milady. But it doesn't end there, for much of the wealth goes back to the poor peasants it was wrung from at the start. Rich bishops and fat franklins receive his special attentions. But I am sure of this, he never robbed a company with a woman in it.
Whether he robbed us or not, it was unforgivable to shoot at my poor steward like that. They tried to kill poor Ralph.
That I could forgive him for.
Catherine?
Oh, good riddance to him. Ralph would be no great loss.
I assure you, if Alan or David had wished to kill your steward, he would be a dead man. Only Robin and Little John, and perhaps Will Scarlet, can be relied on to draw a truer bow than young David of Doncaster.
Which one is David?
The one who loves you, I think.
Loves me?
Unless you put more force behind that blow than I imagine. What else could cause him to mope over it like a kicked puppy?
You're mocking me.
If you doubt my diagnosis, go look for yourself. Oh, those eyes of yours flash fire, and I'm afraid they've kindled a flame in poor David's heart. Milady, if you will grant me a moment's conference, you'll soon be on your way.
The Lady Marian does not
used to give audience to outlaws. I know. If you do not hold your tongue, I shall give David permission to sit and moon at you for the rest of the day. Purely business matters, milady, I assure you.
If it will put us on our way again.
I promise you it will.
Very well, then.
I believe Catherine said you travel to Nottingham to meet the Earl of Arundel.
Yes.
I'm afraid it's no good reason that draws the Earl this far from Prince John in London.
You are too complimentary to me.
No, I didn't mean you. No, if anything can light up the Earl's jaded eyes, I dare say you are the maid to do it. Besides, none of his other mistresses ever tempted him so far north. That speaks highly of your charms.
You are rude, sir. His mistress, such presumption.
A very pretty stamp and a lovely blush, milady. But you'll need much more than that to save your reputation in his company.
I will not endure these imputations. The Earl and I are to be married.
In Nottingham?
No, we meet here to travel to London together.
Well, the journey to London can take a week. Be careful the Earl doesn't make the ceremony superfluous before you get there.
Oh, to still such lewd tongues as yours, Princess Marguerite will be with us to chaperone.
The princess? Well, by the saints, she's said to be one of his mistresses.
Oh.
How did you come to be engaged to the Earl that you know none of these things?
My father died last fall. Since my only brother was killed in the crusade, there was no male heir, and I became the king's ward.
So in the king's absence, Prince John has presented you and your lands to the Earl.
Yes.
The sacrificial virgin.
Oh,
sorry. My, did Kate learn that trick with her eyes from you? But Nottingham, it makes no sense for a rendezvous. Something else is afoot here. The princess and the Earl, so far from London. I'm afraid it bodes ill for King Richard's interests.
Ha! An outlaw like you talks of King Richard's interests.
We may live off the king's deer, but Richard can count us, at least, his loyal subjects.
Do you suggest the Earl is not?
A good King Richard could rest safely with us. I cannot speak so confidently of his fate if the Lionheart should ever find himself at the mercy of the Earl and Prince John.
He is a noble earl, and you a common outlaw.
Which shows how far honor goes in a name.
He is to be my husband.
Then God grant him a taste for argument, for I'm sure you'll give him plenty of it.
You, sir, are nothing but a rude outlaw.
And you, madam, are the most bald-headed, beautiful woman I have ever seen.
Catherine, leave that hedge priest and come here.
Yes, milady.
Hedge priest?
Aye, Tuck, the lady can be as waspish as her woman.
Catherine, we had best look to our honour. We are among the lowest ruffians.
Catherine, tell my lady she had better look to her honour when she's married, for then it will take some looking to.
Catherine, tell the scoundrel I'll not lower myself to listen to him further.
You dirty, lowly, cowardly scoundrel. My lady will not condescend to listen to you further.
Tell your lady that contents me perfectly. For what the good Lord gave her in looks, he obviously made up for in lack of manners.
Oh, you!
Caught you listening.
Hedge priest? Faith, I'll not be called a hedge priest, I.
Nor I, a ruffian and a common outlaw.
The horses are ready, Robin.
Good! The sooner these ladies can be on their way, the better.
Come, Catherine, the sooner we can be clear of this bandit and his hedge priest, the better.
Hedge priest?
Is it bandit now?
The sheriff enters the great hall of the castle, talking to a servant. The princess enters above the stairs.
Yes, yes. Roast 3 of our pigs, and tell cook to stuff a score of pigeons as well.
Ah, Sheriff, I've just stumbled upon a generous stock of this exceptional wine in your cellar. From Bordeaux, is it not? However did you come by it?
Oh, that was confiscated from the estate of a lord disloyal to Prince John. I was planning on sending it to him for his own private cellar as soon as possible.
Well, we'll save you the trouble. We'll have it for the feast this evening. I'm sure Prince John would approve.
Yes, of course, Your Highness.
Are the preparations going well?
It has been short notice, you know.
Of course. How thoughtless of us. I'll have the Earl's men assist you in searching out your stores for proper delicacies for the feast. No need to thank me. It's the least we can do.
Thank you, Your Highness.
Oh, what a time we shall have this evening.
A most extravagant one.
Oh, and Sheriff, I've heard you mention pigs for this evening. Well, I heard talk of a most robust wild boar in the neighboring forest. Wouldn't that be a treat?
Oh, quite a treat.
Alert your huntsman. Oh, and while he's out, let's have some pheasants to stuff. Save your pigeons. We don't want to eat you out of house and home.
I'll alert the huntsman.
Wonderful.
Will and Randall have returned to camp with Geoffrey and are sharing their adventure with their fellow outlaws.
And when Will struck 2 fingers after one fellow, Longshanks did they call him, he just stood there and stared at them on the ground.
For fear the sheriff would find Longshank a bit short-handed.
Aye. From his look of all, they might have been religious relics. I mean, God's blood, I swear, if he had his own ears presented to him on a platter, still, he would have stared.
I think the sheriff would give his own 2 ears to have Robin's head on a platter.
Or even his very soul.
Aye, his ears or his soul, I don't know which is worth more.
Well, when the time comes, I hope I'll be able to make a better exchange for my head than either. But Randall, let me congratulate you on your escape. Long may you breathe the free air of the greenwood. And thanks to you, it's Geoffrey, is it, for your unexpected and timely aid to my cousin Will. You are both welcome to stay with us here as long as you need or desire.
A health to our 2 new merry men.
A health!
And a health to good King Richard. May God protect the Lionheart.
King Richard!
You smile, Geoffrey.
To hear Richard so roundly toasted by outlaws from the king's justice.
But 'tis not the king who has outlawed us, but the lackeys who abuse the land in his absence.
But you are still outlaws. What would you do if Richard walked into your camp right now?
Offer him our lives or our service, whichever he may choose.
I dare say he'd choose your service.
But why are you so interested in Richard?
Oh, I fought with him in the Holy Land. As a matter of fact, my own future success depends very much on what happens to him when he returns.
Godspeed his return!
Tuck sees the toast as a suitable excuse to get back to the drinking, but David catches his arm before the cup reaches his lips.
Tuck, wait.
Yes, set aside the wine.
Why?
We have some water for you instead.
Water? I'll not touch the stuff.
But it's from your own clear, clean well of St. Dunstan. We stopped on our way back from Nottingham.
Yes, you spoke so longingly of it to the two ladies today. We made a special journey. Alan and I were saddened to think such a holy man as you should be forced to break his vows and profane his body with wine.
Here's a bag of dried grain, too, Holy Father.
How touching to have such dutiful children in your flock, Tuck.
Well?
The devil! I'll not touch a drop of it.
But did you not say the blessed St. Dunstan baptized hundreds of heathen Picts and Britons in the well?
Aye, 500 in a single day. Many's the soul he blessed with that sacred well's water. But I never did hear word that he ever drank a drop of it. So pass me the wine, you rogues.
Well, you nearly scared the life out of the friar with that one, lads. But let's cheer old Father Christmas up with a song, Alan.
Ah, shall it be a merry one, Father?
Aye. Oh, make it fast before I'm eaten alive by these bugs.
No, wait. I've brought these two men to join our band, but I think they need fair warning. Let's give them a song about the nastier side of our woodland life.
So be it.
When I was just an infant bundled in my satin bed, my mother craned her head my way, and unto me she said,
There's golden fortune by the score for bright young lads like you. But stay out of those rotten woods, whatever else you do.
The forest life's for me, living bold and fancy free. You can keep your goat and your fancy clothes. The forest life's for me.
There's bees that sting your noses,
And the worms crawl in your ears,
the moths and wasps and spiders bite your arms,
and legs and rears.
But I can guarantee you that no bite this forest brings is worse than getting sent to war to die for foreign kings.
The forest life's for me, living bold and fancy free. You can keep your goat and your fancy clothes.
The insects bite, but we're all right.
The forest life's for me.
The woods are full of animals that growl and scratch and bite, and wriggle in your blanket when you fall asleep at night. But bears
and snakes and weasels
can't do nothing to convince us lads to leave the woods and live
beneath some sniveling prince.
The forest life's for me, living bold and fancy free. You can keep your goat and your fancy clothes.
The insects bite, but we're all right.
There's danger here, but we don't fear.
The forest life's for me.
It's freezing in the winter time,
and wet in spring and fall.
And there are times a man can miss a ceiling and four walls.
But you can take our word for it, the richest and the poorest alike won't trade small comforts for our life.
In Sherwood Forest!
The forest life's for me, living bold and fancy free. You can keep your goat and your fancy clothes.
The insects bite, but we're all right.
There's danger here, but we don't fear.
The forest life's for me, the forest life's for me. The forest life's for... The forest life's for me.
Now, for a little sport to work up an appetite. Randall, Will says you handle a quarterstaff right manly. Perhaps you could give young David here a lesson?
Now, Robin, I'd hate to harm the poor lad.
And do you have a spare head, friend, if I should accidentally crack your crown?
Oh, of course. If the purpose be instruction, any bumps he gets can be marked down to his education, eh?
We'll see if youth can't teach age a thing or two.
All right, lads. Ready now? And try not to educate each other to death.
They fight.
And they say a little learning's a dangerous thing. No, that's enough now. Now, you two must stop fighting before I get hurt. Alan, look to the venison lest it burn.
You fight well, lad. I'd give you another shot, but I fear you might rap me soundly. Oh, those blows you half-landed will make my ribs ache for a week.
You might have accepted them more gracefully. If I had expected you to return them half so vigorously, I might have been a little less of a spendthrift.
The venison is done to a turn. Let's save any further sports till I've taken care of my hunger.
I'm about to waste away myself. Dried grain indeed.
Quickly, quickly! Randall, Geoffrey, make haste. If Tuck has worked up an appetite, he's like to finish the entire haunch before we get there.
Come along.
Out of the way.
Milady, I am so relieved to see you. You have no idea how worried we all were when your steward and your men arrived at the front gate in a panic. Awful talk of an ambush and a band of several score outlaws. Some of them swore you must be dead. The hail of arrows was so great.
How could they know? They were so busy running, they couldn't possibly have had time to look back.
3 arrows are no hail, and 3 men no band. The outlaws certainly were rude enough, but we were in no danger. Why, Catherine even gave the most loutish of them a box of the ears when he presumed to make love to her.
The most loutish? Not 1/3 as loutish as the leader. Why, that one presumed to flirt with Milady.
Robin Hood?
Himself.
He certainly did not flirt with me, Catherine.
Excuse me, milady. I must inform the Earl of your presence.
He did. And he made eyes at you when you weren't looking, too.
To be silent.
The Earl and Princess enter as the sheriff leaves on the opposite side.
Ah, there you are. Welcome to Nottingham, Lady Marian. We are pleased to see you well. May I have the privilege of introducing you to your future bridegroom, the Earl of Arundel?
Your Majesty is most kind.
Rumours of your great beauty preceded you, but their praise seems poor now that we behold the original.
No woman's beauty could hope to shine so brightly in your eye with the princess nearby. She would make any aspirant for a man's heart humble.
A tiny smile passes between the princess and Earl, which they think is invisible, but Marian notices.
You are too humble, Marian. If I do have the Earl's heart, I shall simply have to give it up to you.
But I hope your adventure has not tired you too much. We had planned a feast to celebrate your arrival.
Oh, no, the adventure was quite exhilarating. No, don't disappoint the town by cancelling the celebration. Why, that was the first thing we heard talk of at the gate.
Oh, there you are, my lord. The Lady Marian is a... Oh, you're all here all together. Well, and I was right. It was Robin Hood that stopped her. If he'll interfere with your worship's own fiancé, what might he do if he hears the king is nearby? He would...
Sheriff?
The men obviously have business to discuss, Marian. I refuse to stay and be bored. Let me accompany you to your chambers to see if you require anything to make ready for the evening's entertainment.
You blathering fool. I'll thank you to not blurt out my affairs at every opportunity.
But the Lady Marian is to be your wife.
That does not mean I want you to know all my business. My God, a man tell his wife everything? One would think you never have been married.
Oh, no, Your Grace. I don't tell my wife everything. She just seems to find out.
Did I not say?
Never have I seen a man eat like that.
Yes, Tuck, you did your portion good justice.
And a skill any man could acquire with a little practice.
Yes, well, nonetheless, Tuck, it was a fine piece of eating for a mere hedge priest.
I'll none of that, Robin, not from a common outlaw, and a ruffian, and a rude one, too.
Oh, you matched me there, Tuck. Her tongue stuck us both, and sharply, too.
Aye. That reminds me, Alan. Time for your penance for today's mischief. You owe me a sad love song. Let's have it for dessert.
It's yours.
In Nottinghamshire, as the leaves turn to gold, when the sweet river Idle ran peaceful and cold, I courted a maiden so young and so bright, and she swore that we'd wed by the harvest home light. I built her a bower of cedar and birch by the sweet river Idle to serve as a church, and I waited alone as the dusk fell to night for the maiden I'd wed by the harvest home light. But the joy of my heart, my fair Nottingham maid, with a handsome young captain her promise betrayed, and the birches and cedars were witness that night as I wed the river Idle by the harvest home light.
Will you join me over here?
Yes, Robin.
The Earl and the Princess in Nottingham, it still bothers me.
I can send David and Alan to watch the gates of Nottingham if you like. They've keen enough eyes.
Well, I doubt there's anything to be seen outside the gates. No, I'll go myself and into Nottingham.
And I'll go with you. We can dress as mendicant friars.
Nay, this adventure is mine alone. I'll go as a minstrel. Alan and David brought back word that they were planning a celebration. Well, tonight they shall be entertained by Robin Hood himself.
A fine adventure, but too dangerous. The Lady Marian will be there, and she knows you by sight now.
A minstrel's hood will hide my head. Besides, despite her terrible temper, I'm not certain she would betray me if she recognized me.
If everyone thought as much of your charms as you do, no maiden's heart in all England would be safe. Or is it that you are taken with her? That's it! You want to see her again.
That is ridiculous.
Yes, I think so too.
Hold your tongue and fetch my disguise, and don't tell the others where I'm going.
Or why?
In Nottinghamshire, as the night turns to say, where the sweet river Idle flows slowly away, a young wife weeps softly, remembering the night she forsook her true love by the harvest home light.
This old-time radio program was originally aired live, long before the advent of high fidelity. As a result, you may detect an occasional surface noise or volume drop due to transmission problems so common to old radio. We hope, however, that any variance in audio quality will not take away from your pleasure in listening to this, one of the all-time favorite shows.
Thank you, Marie Wilson, Charlie Butterworth, for your contribution to the evening's fun. And immediately after Tiny's message, there's a little vocal contribution I'd like to make. All right, Tiny? Thank you, Al. Okay, Lud? That sentimental little ballad is called Hands Across the Table. Whether it conjures up a picture of two romantic people holding hands, or a picture of Junior reaching across the table for a second piece of cake, I want you to remember this one fact. Those hands, no matter whose they are, can spread the germs of many common diseases. That's why I want you to realize how important it is to keep hands clean, to wash them regularly and always before meals with Lifebuoy, which not only removes dirt, but helps to remove germs. Teach the children this habit. Form it yourself. Always use Lifebuoy for hands and face as well as the bath.
Maybe you're sort of tired of eating the same old thing day after day. Maybe you'd like to try something different, something delicious, something with a marvelous flavor that just knocks the spots off any other cereal you've ever tried. Now, if that's the case, why don't you ask your mother to let you have a big bowl of crackly, crunchy, golden brown Wheaties flakes tomorrow morning? Ask your mother to let you have a cereal you'll really like the taste of. Ask her for the big, husky cereal for wide-awake fellows and girls who not only start things, but who see them through. Your mother will be mighty glad to let you have Wheaties, too. For most any fellow's or girl's mother wants to see them eat a big bowl of a nourishing whole wheat cereal every morning. And your mother probably knows, too, that authorities now recognize that Wheaties supply the very same amount of heat-producing units you need to help keep your body warm these cold winter days as a cooked cereal does. So you can be sure she'll be glad to let you have all the Wheaties you want to eat this winter, if you ask her for them. Remind your mother that lots of grocers are featuring Wheaties and bananas now. Ask her to get some of each next time she goes to the store. Try that delicious breakfast combination tomorrow morning. You'll say it's swell.
Yo-ho, yo-ho, brush that's all lather, boys, whichever you've the notion. 50 cents for shaving cream, $1 for the lotion. Old Spice means quality, said the captain to the bosun. So look for the package with the ship that's in the ocean. Yo-ho, yo-ho, yo-ho.
What's happening to you these days? Having lots of fun? Believe me, I know some folks that are in for some fun. Those early bird friends of Annie's, who've already sent for their new 1940 model Orphan Annie's shake-up mugs. You know, all of Annie's friends who drink sweet chocolate-flavored Ovaltine can get these swell new shake-up mugs free. And boy, are they beauties. Wait till you see them. They're made of genuine beetleware in brand new colors. A beautiful deep green and a bright flashing scarlet. And every mug has a big colored picture of Orphan Annie and her dog Sandy right on the front. And don't forget, this shaker-upper is a 2-in-1 gift. When you put the top on, it makes a keen shaker for mixing your ice-cold, chocolate-flavored Ovaltine shake-ups. And then, when you take the bright red top off, presto, the shaker turns into a swell, thick drinking mug, holding a creamy, bubbly shake-up all ready for you to drink. Man alive, what fun you'll have with that new shaker-upper. Playing this shake-up game with your friends and having shake-up parties, making a picnic out of every meal this summer. Think of having a delicious ice-cold shake-up drink anytime you want it, made with fresh cold milk and sweet chocolate-flavored Ovaltine. What a treat on a warm summer day. And, of course, Mother will be glad to have you fix all the shake-ups you want, because she knows how much extra pep and energy food there is in every single Ovaltine shake-up. Loads of extra vitamins and minerals and other things everybody needs to be healthy and husky the way we all want to be. So, here's the thing. Annie wants all her friends to have one of these swell new 1940 model shake-up mugs, and you want to get...
The princess, Earl, Sheriff, Marion, and Kate come into the antechamber to the happy sounds of feasting, drinking, and dancing, guests echoing in the great hall behind.
Ah, thank goodness for a bit of quiet. Well, my dear Sheriff, your feast seems to have been quite a success.
Yes, it couldn't have gone better. Even the local barons were impressed by your presence. And heading the table in my own hall? Oh, you have definitely strengthened my position in their eyes.
Lady Marion, what a magnificent celebration of your betrothal.
Indeed, your highness, most magnificent.
Oh, but Sheriff, I do hope the Earl's men did not make too extravagant use of your wine cellar and your pantry in furnishing the feast.
They were rather generous, but I would do it all again for such a feast.
Huh, excellent. We'll arrange it for next Saturday.
Oh, huh.
Or perhaps a touch more of this fine wine will suffice.
Oh, of course, my lord. I shall fetch it myself.
You will join us, I hope, Marion?
Thank you, my lord.
Of course she will join us. Oh, Sheriff.
Yes, your highness.
There was a minstrel in the court below. Is he still there, do you think?
I suspect he is, your highness.
Shall we send for him also, dear Earl?
Absolutely. Little did I expect my new lady to be possessed of such grace and beauty. It is much too early for the celebration to end.
I'll send for him immediately, my lord. Oh, glimpses of lives nigh in the land.
And certainly more to come, Sheriff.
The minstrel, the wine, and goblets for us all.
Well, Marion, if you are half so taken with the Earl as he is smitten by you, we shall see one of the liveliest marriages in Prince John's court.
The Earl's intentions are more than I deserve. I fear he flatters me.
Oh, nonsense. And now that the Earl's eye has found you, I cannot imagine it should wander elsewhere.
Precisely. And with all her other charms, she brings her share of courage as well.
Yes, Marion, your adventure with the outlaws seems to have distressed you very little.
There was little to make me fear.
Catherine, your mistress is too modest. Tell us truly how she behaved.
Most bravely, my lord. She told Robin Hood himself what she thought of his devilry.
Well done, Marion.
And what of yourself, Catherine?
I stood my ground well enough.
She even slapped one of the young outlaws who became fresh with her.
Oh, good for you, Catherine.
Robin enters in a flamboyant minstrel's outfit, replete with fool's cap and bells.
His Lord High Worship, the everlasting Sheriff, has bid me come to you, my lord and ladies. I am the minstrel.
Oh!
What's wrong, Marion?
Why, nothing, my lord. The minstrel startled me is all. My much vaunted courage seems to have deserted me for the moment.
Kate looks to Marion for a sign. Marion indicates silence.
Most high and noble assemblage, what would you have of me?
If your singing even marginally matches your flamboyance, a tune to celebrate true love's meeting.
Why then, I must sing of foul plots and false lovers.
And your reasoning, minstrel?
Why, else my song should have no end, worshipful highness, for true love lasts forever. But never in this world did I hear of a love that time did not sour.
Cynical, my lord, but shrewd.
No, to make words dance is my profession, mighty majesties.
Robin cuts a caper just as Sheriff enters, almost upsetting the tray of wine he carries.
Oh, be careful, clumsy fool.
Oh, mercy, blessed reverence. Can you no longer afford to keep servants after tonight's feast? Very well, I shall serve you gratis. Most divine majesty.
Thank you.
My worshipful lord.
Thanks, minstrel.
Most beauteous damsel. And silent, too. That's a rare virtue in a woman, and should be much appreciated.
Oh.
And we end where we began, dust to dust.
Robin hands the empty tray to the sheriff, keeping the remaining glass for himself.
Most graciously served, minstrel. You have missed your calling.
We must add him to my train. I want a cupbearer.
Yes, with those stout shoulders and strong thighs, who knows what he might be able to bear.
Give us a proper toast, minstrel.
The sheriff indignantly snatches his cup back from Robin.
You may drink from my cup, minstrel.
To good King Richard, and his speedy return to England and his throne.
Robin takes a healthy draught of wine and returns the goblet to the princess.
To Richard, and a proper welcome for him.
The Earl and the Princess make eye contact while they drink, and the Sheriff is struck by a small rash of nervous twitches, all of which are noticed by Marion.
And now a song for you.
Yes, sing us a ballad of Robin Hood. The Sheriff is already twitching.
Oh, surely your highness does not think I would know any songs which glorify common outlaws?
Surely she knows half your songs are about such men. Sing us one of them.
My lord.
You shall not be punished, I assure you.
Sing, as a favour to the sheriff.
Oh, very well, especially for the sheriff. You shall have a song both of love and of Robin Hood, for here is a ballad of Robin's own true love.
Robin Hood rode out to Sherwood Forest, seeking his heart's rest. And as he rode, he dreamed upon the maid that pleased his heart the best. The golden tresses of her hair.
Wait, what?
And snow-white hue of her fine face.
Oh.
And wayfish sight of her lithe form. And thought of just one fond embrace.
Don't do it.
He came upon a maiden preening by a river sweet and clear. He catalogued the qualities that pleased his outlaw heart so dear. The jeweled hilt of her sharp blade and clever wit her servant bore, and scarlet slippers neath her dress that charmed his heart forevermore.
Yes, you're very clever.
So Robin bent his knee to her and offered her his hand to wed. He thought that she'd be smitten, but instead the maiden responded. With pretty stamping of her foot and charming drooping of her jaw, and mouthing protests that she made to hide her love of that outlaw. So Robin looked her in the eye and swore to her he'd never part from she, the most infuriatingly beautiful lady that ever stole an outlaw's heart.
Very charming.
Wonderful. Why, Robin Hood's own true love seems remarkably like our own Marion.
You are bold, minstrel, and clever, too.
Yes, that was very good.
You are all too kind.
Unfortunately, there is one here to prove your song false.
Gracious lady, would you give my ballad the lie?
I must. You see, poor minstrel, I have met Robin Hood this very day.
Not the bold outlaw himself.
Indeed, 'tis true.
And faced him most bravely. Why, her maid even gave one of them a sound box of the ears. Did you not, Catherine?
I would do it again, and you may tell him so.
If I ever meet the knave, I shall tell him for you.
But I fear you must write a new ballad.
And why is that, sweet lady?
The outlaw is too much of a lout to know how to behave to any lady, and such an arrogant buffoon no lady could ever be brought to love him.
Gracious, how the ballads do belie him, then.
Yes.
Disgraceful.
But, my dear Earl, the most amazing part of my encounter was the way he permitted me to insult him to his face.
You would not tell us earlier.
Earlier, I had not heard this poor, misguided minstrel singing his praises.
Oh, good. Tell us of your adventure, Marion.
After he had cowardly set upon a woman's train.
But it is said Robin Hood has never robbed a woman.
And I'm certain he says it more often than anyone. After running off our men by ambush, you see, my lord, a fair fight on open ground was out of the question, he took us to his camp, minstrel.
Do tell.
And there in his own camp endured every insult I could think of without having the sense or spirit to reply. Why, your highness, I called him a ruffian and an outlaw.
Oh.
My lord, I said to his face that he was common and rude. Why, minstrel, even my maid called him a scoundrel.
A dirty, lowly, cowardly scoundrel, milady.
Oh, yes, that's right, a dirty, lowly, cowardly scoundrel, minstrel.
And he said nothing to all this?
Nothing of consequence. Oh, he did pace around a great deal and vie with that fat hedge priest of his to see who could huff and puff the more, but as to articulate sounds, I cannot recall a one.
Then learn your lesson, Marion. A dog like that is always cowed by his betters.
I'm certain that must have been it. I am sure, my dear lord, that you could never have looked so foolish.
Although it is true our dear Earl has been known to huff and puff on occasion.
The Earl shoots a glance to the Princess. Robin catches Marion's eye with a knowing smirk and a nod at the Earl and Princess's exchange.
Why, Minstrel, do you know that if I were to see this Robin Hood again, I believe I could say anything to his face and he could not find the proper words to reply.
Do you think so, milady? Why, what would you say to him?
Do tell us.
Oh, yes, please. I would love to hear it.
Let this minstrel stand for Robin Hood, then.
Ah, I do pronounce him Robin Hood.
Wonderful.
Robin Hood. Oh, I wish I could catch him so easily.
Peace.
And so I say to Robin Hood here, you are a fool. But perhaps he already knows that. I tell him, Robin Hood, you are as silly as you are simple, which perhaps he knows not. I say to him, you are a complete buffoon, which everyone can see. I tell him, you are an arrogant, your vanity is ridiculous, you have the manners of a peasant, the bearing of a bumpkin, the style of a plough horse, and the breath of a goat.
And what would you say to him, Catherine?
Oh, I would say, your beard is shabby, your body stringy, you move like a sick squirrel, and you're lowly muck grubber, and your eyes cross when you get angry.
Yes, Catherine.
Well said.
Marion, you are such fun when you are gay.
Happiness brings out my good points, your highness.
Bring us some more of your wine, Sheriff.
At once, my lord.
Well, minstrel, what do you think of your bold, dashing outlaw now?
In faith, your worship, somewhat less than I did before I sang the song.
How would you like to join my service, minstrel? I suspect there is much you could do.
Is the work honest, my lord?
Not always, no.
Then I could consider it. But is the work hard?
Often.
I'm afraid that rubs wrong. Be the work honest or hard, and you've put me off my feed, my lord.
Too bad. Well, there's for your services.
Most generous, my lord.
And more for your good looks.
Most kind, Majesty. I take my humble leave.
A moment, minstrel. I have teased him terribly. Let me give him something too. Here's for your wounds.
That coin is meaningless. But you have kept my secret, and that is priceless. For that, I must thank you.
Oh, I think I made you pay a proper price.
Indeed, you have. But pause a moment. Surely their feelings toward King Richard and toward each other are clear enough. Don't bridle. I must leave. If you find the king's interests or yourself in danger, you may get a message to me by way of an old scrub woman at Nottingham Gate. Simply ask her how her bonny Johnny fares, and she will bring me any news. And now, farewell, beautiful vixen.
Well, was the minstrel reconciled to you, Marion?
Surprisingly well, your highness.
I should have liked to have him in my service. I collect men who can make things happen. For all his foolery, he is one.
Why?
Sheriff, you're back, but you have forgot the wine. How
Indeed,
naughty of you.
I have rushed back with a letter for the Earl.
Sir Guy, surely. Let me have it. The fake rescue worked. The outlaws have accepted him. Our spy is planted, Sheriff. He confirms the outlaws will probably support the king if the occasion arises. Only a small part of the band remains in Nottingham, and by God, Robin Hood himself has come to Nottingham.
In disguise, surely.
He suspects so. The outlaw left camp quietly. Sheriff, take all measures to capture him. Sir Guy will better control the vagabonds without their leader.
Perhaps we should stop that minstrel. I think he knows the outlaw.
My lord?
No, I don't doubt he knows the man, but I'm afraid we couldn't trust him to point out Robin Hood to us if the outlaw stood right before us. Now, that honor shall go to Marion. Perhaps she shall beard him face to face once more after all.
Of course, my lord.
Please excuse us, dear Marion. We have important business at hand.
My lord.
Are you all right, milady?
How easy it is to mistake one's friends for one's enemies, Catherine.
Milady?
Catherine, I have an errand for you to run early tomorrow morning. You must go to Nottingham Gate and find an old scrub woman. Then you will ask her how her bonny Johnny fares, and once you get there...
Catherine? Catherine!
It is David, not Robin, who rushes in from one of the castle's corridors, pursued by 3 of the sheriff's men.
Found him!
There he is! Stop! Stop! Drop your sword, lad.
I think not.
The 3 men charge at David, who holds his own for a while. The weight of the numbers begin to bear down on him. Robin enters from the opposite side of the hall, stowing his minstrel costume in his bag, and sees the fight.
David!
Robin joins the fray, taking on 2 of the men, and the others run in.
Robin, I came to...
Oh, hush! I know why you came, you lovesick fool.
No, I just...
Just fight! We'll chat after if we survive.
Robin and David disable enough men that they're able to back the remainder off.
Quickly! This way, lad!
Robin, I really did...
Oh, use your heels and not your tongue. It's time we were out of here.
Robin and David rush off with the sheriff's men in hot pursuit.
Well, Robin, I see you're as good as ever working your winning ways on the ladies.
Well, I'll take no japes from a mere hedge priest, Tug.
Seems the lady put your tights in a twist, Robin.
Not only the lady, but the maid too.
Oh, so Catherine was there, Robin.
Aye, lad. Oh, and she spoke of you.
Of me?
Yes, lad. She said she longed to see you again, so she could give you another box of the ears.
That'll be good. What's this about, Robin?
I know not. What is it, Will?
A message from Marion, Robin. She bids you meet her at the spot where you ran off her men.
The old red oak on the way to the Blue Boar.
She says she has information for you.
All right, lads, grab your weapons. There's work to be done in the greenwood.
No, Tuck. I'll go alone.
No, you can't go alone.
You mustn't go alone. This could be a trap.
I think not, Will. I'll go alone.
Oh, no, listen to the man, Robin.
You must not go unaccompanied, Robin.
All right. I'll take one man. No, Will. I'll take Randall. Are you ready to begin your new adventures in Sherwood, Randall?
Oh, aye, Robin. I'd love a crack at those hanging devils.
I thought as much. 'Tis settled then.
I'd particularly like to go with you as well.
No, Geoffrey. I'm sorry, but your first adventure with us will have to wait.
I don't like this, Robin.
Don't be concerned, Will. I'll have my horn. If Randall and I need any assistance, I'll sound it.
If you say so, Robin.
So I say.
At the castle, the Earl is reading a letter while the sheriff and the princess attend him.
When came the letter in, my lord?
Hush, Sheriff. The Earl is even now reading it for the first time.
Is it from the spy?
Hush!
Seems the Lady Marion knows Robin Hood by more than sight, for she has arranged to meet our outlaw friend secretly, let me see, by the old red oak on the way to the Blue Boar. Know you where this is, Sheriff?
Aye, my lord. Everyone knows it locally.
What else does our man say?
That he will arrange to be nearby. Conceal yourself in the vicinity of the red oak if you wish to see 2 strange and rare birds to be stuffed for the prince's collection. Rest quietly until the proper moment. We must not start the game before they are completely within our snare. You may decide yourself whether to capture them now or later.
Well, it seems our dear Marion has a few surprises in her. Apparently you are not quite as irresistible as the good outlaw, my dear Earl. Will you go?
I shall.
Alone? The fewer that know of our interest in Richard, the better.
Well, the sheriff knows, so he shall accompany me.
My lord?
Yes, I'll need you to point out the old red oak to me.
Oh, I can give you very simple directions, I assure you.
No, Sheriff. You can watch the Earl's back for him.
Actually, my huntsman knows the forest excellently well.
But just think, Sheriff. Here is your opportunity to face the outlaw down.
Oh my, Sheriff. Just think how Robin Hood will tremble when he comes face to face with you.
The sheriff trembles himself at the prospect.
Yes, Your Highness.
How thrilling.
Oh, yes, quite thrilling.
Marion and Kate wait impatiently under the old red oak.
Are you sure you found the scrub woman?
Yes, and I asked about her bonny Johnny. I felt like a complete idiot.
Please be quiet, Catherine.
Is he going to come?
If he got the message.
Robin walks up behind the two women.
The blasted cheek of his sharp tongue, and thieving ways that I abhor, and how he drives me halfway mad. And yet there might be something more.
Good day, beautiful ladies.
Oh! Oh! Is it not bad enough to keep my lady waiting? Must you also sneak up on us?
Did I frighten you, poor Kate?
How could anyone be frightened by you after last night?
Enough. Mercy, I beg. I checked the road for followers after you passed, and for that kept you waiting.
You do not trust me.
Let us say merely that you have already learned to make me dance. I would prefer that no one now teach me to dance on air.
If milady had wanted you hanged, all she needed to do was speak up last night.
Perhaps.
Perhaps?
Well, my manners are weak. I'm afraid I would have done my best to acknowledge any introduction with my heels.
Of course you would have run away.
As fast as I could. By the way, Kate, David sends you his love.
He wouldn't dare.
No, not out loud. I drew the message from his puppy dog eyes.
Ooh.
Ooh, and now a message back from you. Perhaps the poor boy may take heart after all. And now, Lady Marion, delighted as I am to see you, I can't but wonder what purpose brings you out so soon after our last meeting. I wish I could say I thought of me, but my vanity has learned to tread lightly around you. So I assume there is important news.
There is a spy of the Earl's in your camp.
A spy?
Yes.
But how did you learn this since last night?
Just after you left, the sheriff brought in his first message from the Earl.
Newly planted, then. That means one of our two new friends dissembles. But which one is false? Speak quietly. One of them awaits me down the road.
They said his name. Oh, but what was it?
Was it either Randall or Geoffrey?
No, I don't think so.
Of course he would change his name. Did you hear any of the message?
Most all of it, I think. He said the fake rescue had worked, and that he had been accepted by the outlaws. He knew you had come to Nottingham.
Geoffrey helped in the escape.
What else was there, Catherine?
He said only a small part of your band remained here.
No help there.
And he said you would support the king if you knew he was near.
Support the king? Could Richard be ready to return to England? Saints be praised.
Oh, I remember the name. Sir Guy.
Yes, I'm sure that's it.
A knight. Well, that fits Geoffrey. And it was Geoffrey who particularly asked about King Richard and pressed to accompany me here. Well, it seems Randall had a rescue in store even if Will Scarlet had not stumbled onto the hanging ceremony. Ha! Will almost stole Geoffrey's pre-stage thunder by performing the rescue himself. Oh, by heaven, I had better look to the blackguard right away. He knows of your coming. If he informs the Earl, they'll have your lands on a charge of treason, and the marriage be damned.
The marriage I would gladly lose.
Well, let's not give them the lands. Back with you as quickly as you can. I'll look to our man. If it turns out you need help, You shall have it from the men of Sherwood.
Farewell, then.
This was a pleasanter meeting than before. I hope there will be more.
Perhaps, minstrel.
They kiss.
Come, my lady.
As they turn to start back to the castle, the Earl and the Sheriff step out onto the path.
Please, don't leave yet, Marion.
Oh!
I should like to accompany you back to Nottingham.
They followed us.
Not followed, preceded.
So, Sir Guy has already sent a second letter.
Just so, minstrel. I must say, your performance last night seems even more amusing now that I know the circumstances.
Your sense of humor does you credit. I make it out to be your move.
Let us give the sheriff a turn.
Robin Hood, I hereby arrest you in the king's name.
I'm afraid I must insist, minstrel. We'd like to keep the news about Sir Guy in our own little circle, if you don't mind.
If a polite refusal will not suffice, I will have to take a stronger stand. Although my friend the sheriff should not count in any reckoning of the odds, I have a man by ready for him. Randall!
Here, Robin.
Fitting justice, Master Sheriff. The pawn you used to plant your spy will now be used against you.
That would be just dandy, Robin. I'm sure we'll get on famously.
That sword's not just ceremonial, is it, Sheriff? Shall we begin?
Save yourself unnecessary trouble, minstrel. I have men at hand you dream not of.
Well, then I shall call my own to accommodate them.
Oh, don't let him blow the horn!
Even as the sheriff speaks, Randall reaches out to stop Robin's hand.
Let us keep the gathering small and quiet, my friend.
Thank you, Sir Guy.
Oh, dear God.
You see, it is pointless to resist, even if we discount the sheriff as you suggest.
My lord!
You still face two of the best blades in the kingdom.
You would do better to surrender, outlaw, and live.
I think not.
Robin draws his sword.
By the end of the day, King Richard shall have 3 fewer enemies.
The other 3 men draw their swords.
And for your treachery, you shall be the first to go.
Robin lays on with Sir Guy. The Earl calculatingly presses at the opposite flank, while the sheriff holds back. Before they can fully close on Robin, however, Geoffrey steps from cover behind the sheriff, startling him half to death.
Ah! Sheriff! Shame on you, Sheriff. 3 on 1. Cowards' odds again. Look to defend yourselves, gentlemen.
The Earl turns to confront Geoffrey, while Robin continues his fight with Sir Guy. But Kate has seen the horn Robin dropped and runs to pick it up. The Earl sees her reach for it.
Sheriff, the horn.
Stop!
Give me the horn.
Let go of the horn, Sheriff, or I'll pull your beard off whisker by whisker.
If you lose that fight, Sheriff, I'll make certain all Nottingham knows by nightfall.
Finally, Kate wrenches the horn from Sheriff's hands and clobbers him on the top of the head with it. She puts the horn to her lips and blows. It makes no sound.
Blow it!
I can't.
Oh, give it to me.
Marion makes insignificant spluttering sounds.
Blow harder.
I can't.
The sheriff has revived enough to sit up.
Give it to me.
Kate bops the sheriff on the head again.
I'm afraid the ladies aren't especially musical, Geoffrey.
A pity. We shan't need more help, but a larger crowd to appreciate the swordplay would have been nice.
They all fight on. Robin seriously wounds Sir Guy, who is forced to yield. Robin moves to support Geoffrey.
Stand back, Robin. I would particularly like to deal with the Earl myself.
As you wish.
Robin walks over, takes the horn from the ladies, and blasts a hearty call. Giving a little smirk to the women after, Geoffrey disarms the Earl.
Yield, knight.
I cannot yield me till I know your quality.
Know it then.
Geoffrey removes his headpiece.
I yield me, sire.
Sire?
So the king has been under our very noses all this while.
Are you the Lionheart, then?
I am.
Most welcome back to England, sire.
The sheriff rises groggily to his feet.
Kneel before the king, you fool.
What?
The king?
The king? What? Have we got the king, my dear Earl?
Not exactly, Sheriff. I'm afraid the king has caught us.
Hmm?
Gradually, the sheriff's focus returns. He looks about, sees Sir Guy wounded, everyone kneeling, and finally Richard standing.
Oh God.
The sheriff sinks to his knees as Alan and David rush in.
We're here, Robin.
That's very nice, Alan.
We're too late to get in on it, aren't we?
Oh, but it looks as though Geoffrey's been here and had his share of the action, haven't you, Jeff, old boy?
Oh, good work, Jeff.
Oh, God. Randall's been wounded. Who did it, Randall?
Robin Hood.
Robin.
I say, why is everyone crawling about? Hello, Kate.
Tuck and I had gone for water when we heard your call, Robin. Tuck's doing his best to follow. Is everything all right?
Kneel to the king, Will.
To Richard?
I believe that is our king's name.
Richard?
Geoffrey?
Oh. Sire.
God's blood, where's the action, boys? Death and damnation, is it all over then? And where the devil is the enemy? Did you drag us all here to fight two men, Robin?
Nay, good Tuck. Robin thought it a good time for a prayer meeting.
A prayer meeting? You blew your horn for a prayer meeting?
Yes, Tuck. Are you not the shepherd of your flock?
I am well nigh run to death. I am sliced to ribbons by brambles and briars. I'm jolted to the teeth and soaked to the skin in sweat. You and the rest of my flock can go to blue blazes. Oh, a prayer meeting.
Yes, good father, for King Richard's safe return.
Well, King Richard can go to the devil with a lot of you before I run like that again. Blow the horn for a prayer meeting. I'll pray for King Richard, all right. I pray he comes back soon to hang you all for a bunch of witless outlaws.
Nay, Tuck. I rather pardon them for true and loyal subjects.
Very kind of you, I'm sure. I hope King Richard appreciates your intercession.
Well, I trust I know his mind as well as my own.
And how is that, good tickle brain?
Because I am Richard.
Help me to kneel, you clowns. I'll break your neck for this trick, Robin.
It was the king's trick, Tuck.
Yeah. Oh, for God's sake, Will, why did you not tell me?
Because I could not get a word in edgewise over your bellows, you great moon calf.
Rise, Robin, and all your men, also Marion and Catherine. I wish all the men in England were as loyal as the outlaws of Sherwood. Sir Guy, your performance as Randall was quite splendid. You fooled us all.
I thank you, Your Highness. A natural gift of the tongue, sharpened by the necessities of a younger son making his way. Should you ever have need of it, or of my blade, they are yours. My service with the Earl seems ended.
He is loyal, my liege, to those he serves.
We shall see. Robin and Marion, I would like some time with you. I have a few thoughts for you. And as for you, my dear Earl, I shall ask you to accompany me on a visit to my dear brother Johnny. The Prince and I have much to discuss.
Long live King Richard!
And long live the Greenwood!
Greenwood!
Here you've seen our plotting spoiled by the king and Robin foiled. Heroes praised and villains vile undone.
Now if the lady doth approve, here I give my ward to you. Brave Robin Hood, take your maid Marion.
Now you've heard our honest tale and seen how passion can prevail, or scoundrels who would see its course undone.
So if you feel your passion wane, hearken back to this refrain
of Robin Hood and his maid Marion.
Here you've seen we honest men, living simply and content, trusting all in faith and owing none.
Sporting, singing, unrefined,
free with laughter and with wine,
like Robin Hood and his maid Marian.
Noble friends of gentle heart, spread the news as you depart of true love and adventures here begun. Raise your voices high with mine, sing aloud a blessing fine
to Robin Hood and his maid Marian. To Robin Hood and his maid Marian. To Robin